Sarah Fox, and I'm with Rocky Callan. We are Tea and Tequila, and this is the Tea and Tequila show. We are talking about querying. So, Rocky, why don't you kick it off?
All right, so yes, agents. There's so many different routes to becoming an author, and the standard that we talk about, self-publishing versus traditional publishing. Self-publishing, you rock on by yourself, but you hire a team to make it happen. So you get your own cover designer, you get your own editor, you get you marketing support, things like that, and you really go forward, and you have full creative control. The other side is to go traditional, where you are pitching a publisher, and a publisher picks up your book, buys your book, and publishes for you. But before you can get to a publisher, you need an agent. That's the gatekeeper to that process. And so when you're looking at agents, you are looking at, depending on if you're writing nonfiction or fiction, if you're writing nonfiction, you write a book proposal. So generally, that's a few chapters, that's a marketing plan, and there's lots of different pieces involved to pitch a nonfiction book proposal to an agent. With fiction, you have to write the whole book. And I have seen that there are people that don't realize that. They actually think, I remember Becca Fitzgerald, who's a novelist, she said she didn't realize you had to have a full manuscript, so she wrote a few chapters and then queried an agent, and then the agent asked for the full manuscript, and then she raced in like a week and a half to write the rest of the book. And of course, the agent passed. But then she realized, like, oh, I have to have a book done and completed, and then I start querying. So one of the things is you have to have your book done and completed, and it's not just like your first draft. You really want to edit. You want to make sure it's the best it can be, because it is a very difficult process to get an agent a lot, and it's a very subjective process. So even if your book is wonderful, it might not be best suited for, say, your top pick. So one thing you want to do is research the agents that you're going for. You want to research to make sure that your project is aligned with what they are looking for. And you can do that through literaryrambles.com is a blog that has lots of interviews and information about different agents, especially in the young adult, middle grade, children's genres. And you can look into what they're searching for, some of their interviews, some of their quotes. And so when you are going through this process, make sure, one, that you are writing a query letter,
Yes.
one-page letter.
Also, Query Shark is a good resource for that as well, if you want examples.
Query Shark, yes.
It's a website where I believe, is it an agent or an editor? Someone in the industry analyzes all these different query letters. Like, people send them in. There's pages and pages. I think there's hundreds at this point there, where they do an analysis of what's going right with the query letter, what's wrong. So if I know the woman who wrote, where is it on my shelf? Is it A Torch Against an Ember in the Ashes? What's her name? Help me out here. Anyway, she said that she just got her query accepted simply by reading that site alone. That's how she learned to write query letters. So it's powerful enough that if you look at that site and read it it's not a book cover to cover, but like back to front with all the pages, you should be in good shape. And also, if you get hired, there's like a lot of editors who do packages out there where they do like the first 50 pages for your query letter, and they'll help you edit it, and industry experts will do that. I think Jane Friedman is one of them even. So there's a lot of people out there who will help you out with that too.
Absolutely. You can get support with your query letter. And when you're looking at your query letter, there's different sections of it, and definitely check out Query Shark, because they give you lots of examples. But you need to introduce your project. You need to say why you are querying that agent in particular. Then you give a paragraph summary of your book. And then if you have any publishing credentials or if you have any connection to the agent or any other bits or pieces of information, you can load up at the end. And people have different structures and whatnot for it, but it's a one-page letter. And some mistakes that I have seen or that people have mentioned, agents have mentioned, are don't do one generic email and then blast a bunch of people. Don't say, dear agent, and then put a bunch of people in the two.
Make sure the name's spelled correctly, too, when you query the agent. Make sure the name's right.
That was the next one I was going to say. So don't blast agents with a generic letter. 2, make sure you're querying the right agent with the right name and that you spelled it correctly. That there's been a lot of people that they said of course you copy and paste a lot of your query, but then if you forget to change the name of the agent, that is bad.
There goes that deal.
That is, there's like straight to the delete pile. The other piece is try to, in the summary of your book, try to make it so it's not just like this bland, straight read of like summary. You want it to feel like back cover copy for a book that entices or really shows or gives you a sneak peek of your voice, your writing voice, so that way it pulls people in. So when you're looking into doing this, make sure you check out interviews with your different agents. Make sure that you are querying the proper people and follow their guidelines.
Oh yes, triple check their guidelines. There's no excuse not to do it. Like I literally, when I send stuff out to anyone, like whether it's like a guest post or like whatever, is with publishing, is that you look through the thing and I like triple check that. I have to make sure the name's correct. I'm like neurotic about it, but make sure your spelling's correct. Make sure there's not an unfinished sentence. Make sure it's grammatically on point because it's the sample of your writing they're first going to see. So make that the best email of your life.
Exactly. I mean, they're judging you by your writing. So don't half-ass it.
Also, I recommend if you're querying multiple agents, which you should, unless if you have exclusive, whatever. But if you're querying multiple agents, my husband will love me for saying this, but I hate to say it, an Excel spreadsheet or some kind of chart where you have when you queried people, have you followed up, have they responded, like what their submission guidelines, like go hardcore with an Excel document on this one so you're tracking everything so you know when to follow up, who you followed up with, and not do the horrifying thing. Let's say an agent rejects you and then you follow up saying I haven't heard from you and they're like, I rejected you 2 weeks ago. Then you have to be rejected twice, which is a burn.
Another piece too with that, querytracker.com helps you keep track of things too. And then they also have some sort of agent information on the website too, so you get some of that. Like, also Publishers Marketplace, you can see like past deals that they have done, things like that. And one thing to do is, I have heard, is if you include, like, say a part of an interview really resonated with you, or you really like the fact that they list themselves as an editorial agent, or you really like the fact that they are a career agent, which means that they are invested in their writers for their career and their progress and growth. Like if you see something that in their interviews that resonates with you, then make a one-line comment about that in your query so that they know that you've done your research. They are saying for agents, the fact that you've done your research and you've really been thoughtful about why you've queried them really resonates with an agent when they receive a query letter and makes it stand out. So those are some tips to get you started on that process. But remember, if you're writing fiction, you have to write your book first.
Definitely. And don't forget to look in the back of books for your agents, like your favorite authors. That's the number one way I look, is if I like The Fault in Our Stars, look up, see who John Green's agent. Look up, like, Lil and the Boy Next Door, see who Stephanie Perkins is. And you'll be amazed at how many of your favorite books it's the same agent. I find that. It's like a couple agents I know I won't want to query because it's like the same 5 names I keep seeing in my favorite books.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that is actually exactly how I found my agent. I read a book, I loved the book, I looked in the acknowledgement section, and then when I went to look up her interviews, I fell in love with the agent herself. So definitely is a wonderful way, because one is, if you resonate with a book or you read a book that has the same tone or feel to what you are writing, then you know that they are attracted to that kind of work too. So it's a great way to go about it.
Yes. Well, that's all we have today. Leave in any comments you have in below about how you track your queries or how you do your query process, and we will see you next time.